Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
It's the monster from the swamps, Regis Rougarou Prograis.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF World Champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 287 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman. I'm joined as ever by, you know who it is, the former heavyweight world title challenger himself, Mr. Fast Eddie Chambers. Eddie, how we doing, my man?
Oh, I'm good, man. Same as always, man. Real good. How you feeling?
Always good when speaking with you. I'm excited for this week's show. Like we say, a couple guests that we'll get onto soon enough. We'll do again review part. Then the first guest will come in. That guest will be a man that we'll be speaking about, I'm sure, in the review part, Mr. Jaron Ennis. And then of course we will, begin part two with the news as ever. Then the preview part. Then the show will end on an interview with former IBF Lightweight World Champion, Ghana's very own Richard Commey. So before we get into all of that, like I say, let's dive into the review part. One or two fights to mention actually, over in Grozny, Russia. We're going to start over here. Weird couple fights really. Umar Salamov, 26-1 now. A split decision over 10 rounds against Sergey Ekimov, who's now 18-3. On the undercard as well, this is a crazy one. I was talking about it last week. Apti Davtayev, 20-0 with a draw going in. I think he had 19 KOs. At one point he was supposed to take on Lucas Brown. The fight fell through. He got in there with a guy called Jack Maluwai, who had a record of 9-2 with a draw going in. It was for the WBC Asian Boxing Council Continental Heavyweight title. Anyway, Davtayev was actually knocked out in round 8 there, so he's lost his O. He's now 21-1 with a draw. Huge upset there if you're looking at the fight on paper. Moving out now to Kiev in Ukraine. One fight to mention over here. Zach Chelly on the undercard, British fighter, of course, a good fighter. He's now 10-1 with a draw, a knockout in the third round against Bohdan Harkavi, who's now 4-3. Weird one, like I say. I love these weird fights, and there's a few more to mention as well. Getting on to the bigger events now, the Copper Box Arena over here. Let's start with the undercard, I think. Cash Farouk was able to beat Alexander Espinoza. Espinoza now 20-3 with 2 draws. Very, very tough. He showed a great chin, Espinoza. And to think he got stopped, I think, in 2 or 3 rounds by Dixon Flores, who Cal Yafai wiped out in, I think, just 1 round. I expected Cash Farouk to get him out of there pretty quickly, but no, it didn't happen. It went to points, and it was quite close actually, their fight in the end. But yeah, unanimous decision over 10 there for Cash Farouk. Farouk as well was cut over both eyes and on his right cheek. That one was for the WBC International Silver Bantamweight title. Farouk has now taken that away from the champion there, Espinoza. Elsewhere on the card, Savannah Marshall with a nice and easy win, it looked like anyway. She became the first lady to stop Maria Lindberg, who of course came in on about 4 days' notice actually. She's now 19-7 with 2 draws. It was for Savannah's WBO female middleweight title. She's called out Clarissa Shields straight after the fight. That's a fight we'd all love to see. Elsewhere on the undercard, Shannon Courtney, now 7-1. She was able to beat unanimously over 10 2-minute rounds Ebony Bridges, who's now 5-1. It was for the WBA World Female Bantamweight title, which of course was vacant. Courtney was cut as well on the left side of her head. Bridges as well. Shocking. I think it was her left eye. It really swole up disgustingly. It was a really good fight, actually. I've got to say, they're already saying probably one of the best women's fights of all time, especially in the UK. Quite an easy fight to score, I felt. I had it in the end 6-4 to Shannon Courtney. Bridges came, with a lot of heart. She she's got big legs, obviously, because she's got a history in bodybuilding, and I think it kind of helped her because she took a lot of flush shots really well. I think because she's got such big legs, it kind of kept her up, I should say. Courtney, for me, got a little bit tired in the later round. She had to soak up a lot of pressure, and Bridges was a lot better than I thought she was. But, let's be honest, like I say, should never have been for a world title, especially when Rachel Ball was sat at home on the monitor watching the fight, having beaten Shannon Courtney before. And it's not like Rachel Ball herself is a world beater. I mean, her record's 7-1 with 0 knockout wins. I just want to see a rematch now, really, between Courtney and Rachel Ball. Like I say, terrible black eye for Bridges. I've got a feeling a lot of the middle-aged viewers probably turned the channel over at that point as well when she started to get beaten up. I think a lot of people, like I say, were watching that one for other reasons. But all in all, a really good fight in terms of the action on show. It really was quite entertaining. The main event, Conor Benn, now 18-0, a defense of his WBA Continental Welterweight title. He took out in just one round the usually teak-tough Samuel Vargas, now 31-7 with 2 draws. I've got to say, I was really, really impressed by Conor Benn. He annihilated Vargas. Never in my life did I see Benn doing that early in the fight. I was pretty much 100% sure it was going to go late. I said it on last week's show. If it goes late, it could be interesting. If Ben got drawn into a war, it could be even suicidal for him. But he smashed Vargas to pieces. No one's ever done that. He's honestly the most improved fighter from Britain in recent years, along with, for me, John Ryder. So shout out to that gym that Tony Sims has put together. But yeah, I mean, if you get out the infamous measuring stick there, you talk about Conor Benn's win over Vargas, and you compare it to some of those guys that are much higher up the ladder, kind of thing, that didn't do what he did. Like Vargas has been 7 rounds with Virgil Ortiz in the fight before that. He's been 7 rounds with Danny Garcia. He's gone 4 with Errol Spence, and what Conor Benn did there was just sensational for me. Even though it seems like Vargas is at the end of his career, perhaps, it was still a huge statement. And I really want to see Conor Benn in an even bigger fight. And I think now I'd love to see him fight Josh Kelly. I'd love to see him fight David Avanesian. I'd love to see a lot of fights for him. So I really like him. I think you can't quite help yourself but be a fan. He's so down to earth. He doesn't read from the script. He speaks from his heart. And I really like his fighting style now. It's, like I say, it's really, really improved. And yeah, I really cannot wait to see what's next for Conor Benn. Moving out now to the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, USA. Over here, this one, of course, was on Showtime. On the undercard, Jerwin Ancajas successfully defended his IBF World Superflyweight title. He was able to beat unanimously over 12 Jonathan Rodriguez. He had him down in round 8 as well. But yeah, Rodriguez now 22-2 and a good win there for Jerwin Ancajas. Elsewhere on the card, Evan Holyfield now 6-0. A unanimous decision over 4 rounds against Nicholas Compton, who's now 2-4. Moving up the card, Imantas Stanionis is now 13-0. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He was able to beat unanimously over 12 rounds Thomas Delorme, who's now 25-5 with a draw. And the main event, Jaren Ennis, will be speaking to him very, very shortly. He's now 27-0, a KO in the 6th round against Sergey Lipinets, the former 140 world champion. He's now 16-2 with a draw. Lipinets down in the 4th round, and then, of course, in the 6th and final round. I mean, extremely impressive from Ennis, of course. His punch output, his jab, his speed, and just his accuracy, not to mention the size, I think, made him look on a completely different level to Lipinets. Lipinets as well looked quite flat-footed and slow. Lipinets, like I say, was down in the 4th, but the replay revealed it was actually more of a trip, I felt. But anyway, a 10-8 round, incorrectly or correctly, it doesn't really matter in the end. Ennis, like we say, got the knockout in the 6th round. It was a right hook followed by like a kind of left uppercut slash hook. It was like an upper hook, I'm going to call it. Lipinets fell flat on his back and the referee waved it off. He makes a statement there massively. It was a big step up in terms of his previous opposition, and he's done something that Mikey Garcia couldn't do. I look forward to the next big step up. I'd love to see him in with someone like a Danny Garcia. The commentators spoke after the fight about that fight as well, and I think it's a fight that you brought up last week, Eddie, perhaps the Danny Garcia fight. Al Bernstein was discussing that, so maybe he's been listening to the podcast, who knows. But anyway, the only way is up now for Ennis. That's what he said as well, and I cannot wait to see him in with a big name next. He's not really learning anything against some of the other guys on his record, but I think this one here, he'll learn a lot from that, and he will improve. If it's possible, of course it's possible. He can improve. He's going to get better and better, but the prospect is scary. Where is his ceiling? Where can he go? He looks unbelievable. Eddie, I'm sure you were also thoroughly impressed.
Oh, absolutely, man. I look and see him. He doesn't look like he has any holes. It's hard to tell about the adversity and everything. Him going through adversity because I haven't seen him go through it. And even with a guy like Sergey Lipinets, who is one of the top guys in the division, definitely a top 10 guy, took Mikey, all the way. He was dropped by him, but he wasn't put out, and the kid was hitting Mikey, and it was just, what I mean. The guy is a tough guy. He's not just somebody that a normal guy could blow away. Even a high level guy could blow away. So when you look at how good and what Ennis did as far as taking care of him and getting him out of there in style, it's just like, it's really scary for all of them, for everyone. That includes Crawford, Spence, everyone that's up there should definitely really, really be paying close attention to the future of this kid, because I feel like at this point, just seeing that's all I really needed to see. I still want to see him go through some adversity. I don't want to say that he's just going to blow these guys away, because I don't think that's the way it's going to happen. But if you match him up with Terrence Crawford, I think he has more than Terrence Crawford. I think he has more speed. I think he's.
That's a big shout.
I think that's a legit thing. I think he has more speed for sure, and I think his seamless transition from orthodox to southpaw in the midst of combinations, and just his defensive ability to roll with shots, to even at his size, being able to fight inside, throwing multiple big combinations. And it's just like, I don't think, even with Earl Spence, if you look at Spence, and normally Spence, when he fights guys, he outpunches them. Their punch output drops and his rises. You know what I'm saying? And that's what really puts Spence on that level, more so than even his power. It's his pressure and his punch output. And I just don't see him being able to do that with Ennis. He punches too hard. He's too fast. He's too rangy. He can fight inside. He can fight outside. The only thing that we have to see, and that remains to be seen, is how he takes a shot. I seen Sergey Lipinets land a good shot in the fight, but he kind of rolled with it. And he took it well, but he rolled with it. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, I hope and I hope I never see him have to take a shot. But the reality is, this is boxing. Everybody gets hit no matter what. And when you get in there with those top guys like Crawford, Spence, and Garcia, like those kind of guys up there, you're going to get hit. So it's just a matter of how he deals with it. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing that I really think. And I'm trying to be as honest as I can. And I'm not trying to say, oh, he's the best ever or and all that right now. But what I am saying is, he has all the capabilities of doing what Floyd did, as long as he stays in control of his life. He doesn't get too ahead of himself. You know what I'm saying? He loves the gym. He loves the train. You know what I mean? From what I understand, he's definitely a workhorse, and he's getting better all the time. I just really don't see a lot of things that these guys can do. They're not big enough. You know what I'm saying? Maybe with the exception of Spence, but then I just don't think he's going to be fast enough, and I don't think his punch output is going to be enough. I mean, this is me looking at it. I don't even want to say on paper, but just looking at it from a fan's point of view, and I'm just like, man, this kid is really, really, really special. I mean, like, he really has ability that, like, it's like you beg for. You get on your knees and beg, pray to God, and you still can't get shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, sky is truly the limit for him. It's just he got to stay invested. He also has to stay grounded and not get too excited about how good he is over these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because it only takes one, and then everything else is, everything disappears. So as long as he stays grounded, keeps his head, keeps his focus, he's going to get far, very far.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you've said there, Eddie. Really impressive. Moving out now, though, to the Osage Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Over here, the final card to mention. On the undercard, friend of the show, heavyweight Jaron Ennis. He was pictured in the dressing room with a chef's hat on before the fight. I think he also had it on in the ring after the knockout. He was able to move to 9-0 with 9 KOs. It took him just 2 rounds to get rid of Jeremiah Carpentier. Carpentier was down in the first round as well as the second, and he's the quickest man to have stopped him, quicker than Sergey Kuzmin and quicker than Oscar Rivas, so that's good stuff for friend of the show, the real big baby Jaron Ennis. Elsewhere on the card, we should now mention Efia Jagba picking up a win, and I tell you what, I'm not sure if you saw this knockout, Eddie. Did you see it? Oh boy.
Oh man, honestly I did. It was nasty. It was a nasty knockout. It definitely was. I gotta give him credit. he caught him with an ugly shot. But that's boxing. And if you and I seen the guy, and this is why, like, when you look at Floyd, you be like, man, Floyd getting a lot of people knocked out because. And I remember the great brother Nazim Richardson always said, Floyd's gonna get a lot of people knocked out using that shoulder roll because a lot of people try to fight with the defense with the left hand down, shoulder up. And it's just not for everybody, especially if you're not elite, man, at it. And I think that's what happened. And he got caught cold with that right hand. Whew. And he fell, and you can tell he was out because he didn't fall and find a way to comfortably lay there. He laid there just how he fell. And it was like, wow. It was a hell of a shot.
Absolutely, it was, yeah, and that for me is one of the best knockouts so far of this year. A great knockout win for Efia Jagba, even though Brian Howard is 40 years of age now. But brilliant knockout win for the Nigerian. Elsewhere on the card, I think we're now on to the main event. Yeah, we hoped it would happen. It did happen. Joe Smith Jr., now the WBO World Light Heavyweight Champion. His record now 27-3. Maxim Vlasov now 45-4. I've got to be honest, I wasn't really scoring the fight. I was kind of watching it in the background. It clashed with another fight, but it looked to me that Vlasov's kind of in-your-face style, whilst also being incredibly mobile and using great upper body movement, seemed to cause Smith a lot of problems. He took a lot of big shots early on. Smith came back strong in the last couple rounds. There was a bad referee error as well in the 11th round. I felt it possibly robbed Joe Smith of a knockout, because I think Joe Smith hit him behind the head and the referee gave the guy so much time. You had Joe DeGuardia from Star Boxing running around the ring going crazy. But yeah, I thought he could have possibly got him out of there because Vlasov was spent at that point, man. And then, into the 12th round, Joe Smith tried to put it all on Vlasov, but Vlasov just had a little bit too much in the tank to get stopped. It would have been wrong of me, and it is wrong of me to say who I thought won the fight, because like I said, I wasn't really watching it with full concentration, but from what I did see, it looked to me like Vlasov was probably getting the better of it, but I'm a massive Smith Jr. fan that, I'm just over the moon for him, and I'd love to see him fight Britain's very own Callum Johnson, but whatever. I'm pleased for Joe Smith Jr., man. Really am. We're going to move on from that. That's it, though, for the review part of the show. Just before we wrap up part 1, it is time to speak to that man that we spoke about a few minutes ago, Mr. Jaren Ennis. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated welterweight tipped to take over the division. It is, of course, Mr. Jaron Ennis. Jaron, welcome to the show, my friend.
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It really is. So, Jaron, first things first, you're fresh off your win on the weekend over former 140 world champion Sergey Lipinets. It was on TV real late over here, but of course I made sure I had to stay up for the fight. You must have been proud of your performance, man. Tell me about the fight. Amazing.
It was a great fight. I feel like I did good. You know, I had fun. I did what I was supposed to do. You know, and that's come home victorious and you know, made a big statement.
Yeah, you certainly did. You became the first man to stop Lipinets. You did something a great fighter like Mikey Garcia didn't do. I think, Jaron, that this win certainly shows that the power you possess definitely is real. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but I mean, we know the power is real, but they don't because they're not in the ring. So, you know, but yeah, I definitely feel like they starting to really see and understand that I really can punch.
Yeah, I think they believe it now. I've got to ask, Jaron, that's surely got to be your most favourite win out of all your pro fights, surely.
I'm not sure yet because I didn't watch it. I'm gonna watch it tonight and, you know, look back on and see how I performed and stuff like that. But yeah, that was definitely my best one so far. Like a great one for me. So.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, you've been a guy on pretty much every hardcore boxing fan's watch list for a number of years now. You've kept winning and winning. I really feel like this win is a breakout win for you. However, I personally wanted to see the fight go into the second half because you've still not gone past 6. Do you feel that you can still be as fluent in terms of everything, the punch power, the movement, the switch hitting? Can you do that for 12 rounds? When are we going to see you do it?
You know, that's if the guys can get past, you know, the 6th round. But like I was just in there having fun, you know, put on a show. I feel like I could have stopped Sergey in the 3rd round, but I backed off and you know, just, you know, started picking my shots a little more, you know. And the goal was to put on a punishing performance and then get the knockout. So that's exactly what I did. But as you see, I stand up in between rounds. I don't sit down. I don't get tired. I train 4-minute rounds, so there's no need for me to sit down. So that's why I just, you know, stand up, and we only fight in 3 minutes. So, you know, I'll be in the best shape.
And that's you know, like I said, that's a great win. You know, you broke him down. It was clinical. You got him out of there. Ideally, Jaron, how soon do you want to be out again, fighting again?
Maybe like end of July or August, beginning of August. July or August is cool with me.
And of course, I don't need to tell you this, but the welterweight division is probably the most stacked division in boxing. It has, you know, huge names over huge names. Is there anyone that's on your radar?
Welterweight division definitely is you know, I think it's the best division right now, and it has all, you know, the high quality guys and top guys. But I want you know, be great, and I want you know, be a world champion. So any of the world champions, any top 3 guys, it's you know, it's only up. I want the big names, and I gotta work my way towards it. So that's what I'm doing.
And of course, people have been mentioning an all-Philly showdown between yourself and Danny Garcia. I don't want to put any names in your mouth. Is that a fight that interests you, or do you not really gain much from a fight against a guy like Danny?
I mean, Danny a great fighter, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, if it presents itself, you know, I'll take it. But yeah, he's a great fighter. You know, he fought a lot of guys. But I think Danny see more of the 54, so I doubt that probably happened.
Okay. And another thing that unfortunately we probably have to doubt happening is Spence Crawford. It looks like it's not going to end up happening. But if it did end up happening, Jaron, I'm sure you'd want to watch the fight as a fan. Who do you think would win that one, man?
I think it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen in like 2022, like the beginning of 2022, or I think it's going to happen at 154 if they do fight. But I don't know. It's 50-50 fight. May the best man win.
Okay. And again, Jaron, if we're being completely honest here, how far away from that level do you see yourself? I understand, obviously, you just had a big step up on the weekend. I understand how the game works. I'm sure you feel you can hang with these guys right now. But when is the sensible time, I'm going to say, the sensible time to go after one of those two top guys?
Like I said before, I'm ready now. And you guys will see. It's only a matter of time. But I feel like I think I'm gonna get my shot at the end of the year, hopefully, and that's the goal.
And I want to ask you as well, talking of your goals, Jaron, what is your actual end goal in boxing? Is it just to become a world champion? Is it to become an undisputed world champion, a multi-weight world champion, or do you kind of have one go at a time and then you get a new goal once you smash that one? How does your goal plan work?
My goal is to follow the best fighters, be a multi-undisputed, weight division champion. I'm trying to go up to like 68, and that's about it. So be like a four-time multi, undisputed division champion. I don't think nobody did that. I want to be the first person to do that.
All the way to 68. I didn't think you'd say that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to ask you this question as well, Jaron. A lot of the guys listening here from the UK like to hear the answer to this question here, putting you on the spot a little bit. Who comes to mind if I ask you, who's your favourite UK fighter? Any era. It can be a guy retired 100 years ago if you want. It can be a guy still boxing today. Who jumps to mind, my friend?
UK, I'm going to say Prince Nassim.
Okay, Prince Nassim. Yeah, the most popular answer. Everyone says that, man.
Am I missing somebody? I feel like I'm missing somebody when I hang up on I'm like, I should have said him. It's somebody else out there that Prince Nassim, Ricky Hatton, they great fighters. Who else? Yeah, that's all I know right now.
Yeah, no, that's
as soon as I hang up, I'm gonna have a whole bunch more people for you.
No, but Prince Nassim is probably the most popular. It is the most popular answer. Everyone loves Prince Nassim.
Yeah.
And just finally, before we wrap it up, Jaron, if you've got any closing words just to tell the listeners, especially the guys in the UK, like I say, everyone is now starting to get on board. They're starting to get behind you now and support you. What's your message to the guys that support you over here, and let them know where to follow you on social media platforms?
Follow me at Jaron Ennis on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, everything the same. Just continue to keep supporting me, y'all. Hopefully, I come over there and fight, once or twice, and that'd be a dream come true. And continue to follow the journey on the way to a world title championship.
Absolutely. Brilliant words, my friend. Listen, Jaron, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you, my man. Congrats once again on the win on the weekend, and I cannot wait to see you box again.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the news part of the show. What do we have? Jay Harris, former world title challenger. He returns to action on May the 14th. It's going to be, of course, on an MTK Global show. It's going to be in Bolton. He takes on Ricardo Sandoval. So that one, like I say, once again, is May 14th. It's a Friday night there. It's a final eliminator as well for the IBF Flyweight World title. So that should be interesting. The winner will get a shot there. And what's interesting about that, by the way, is the winner gets a shot of the IBF champion, like I say, which is at the minute the South African who's defending against Sonny Edwards. So that could be great. Imagine if Sonny Edwards was to win that and Jay Harris were to win that. We get Sonny Edwards and Jay Harris in a fight. I'd love to see that one. The other piece of news is that Blair Cobbs, friend of the show, he returns to the ring on April 23rd in El Paso, Texas. I'm not quite sure his opponent's been announced just yet, but all the best to him. Moving on now to the preview part of the show. This one is a weird one, Eddie, and I don't like to throw shade on women's boxing because I'm a big fan of women's boxing. I pump it up as much as I can, but this is a bit crazy. We've got Hannah Gabriels, Eddie, who who's been in there with Clarissa Shields. She's been a world champion herself, but, you know, she had the big fight with Clarissa. She dropped Clarissa, but she ended up losing. In her last fight, she weighed in at 150 pounds, and she is 5'7". Okay, so she is fighting. This is weird. She's fighting over 10 2-minute rounds in Costa Rica against a lady called Martha Gaitan, who is 11-9. Now, this is where it's weird. It's for the vacant WBA light heavyweight world title and the vacant WBC heavyweight title. So they're boxing for a light heavyweight and a heavyweight world title. And like I say, one of the ladies, Hannah Gabriel's 5'7". She last weighed in at 150. I think the fight's being made at 168, but it's just, you know, the winner's going to become a heavyweight world champion despite not weighing anything near heavyweight. It's a shame, you know. It's just they don't have the depth there, you know.
That is so strange. Like I can't even think of anything like that I've ever heard. Now,
it's I tell you, let me just quickly say, Eddie, before you say that, Gervonta Davis, when he fought Leo Santa Cruz, we know that one was for the lightweight and super featherweight world titles, so 130 and 135, and that was frowned upon. But this is like hold my beer, you know. It's crazy. Light heavyweight and heavyweight world titles on the line for ladies that are not light heavy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's boxing. It's, you know, sometimes you know
that makes it good enough.
This is
right?
how
that makes it good enough. It's boxing.
And you know why you say that? Because there's so many times that you see things like this happen. You know how fighters get fights, and it doesn't seem like they fought anyone in years, and all of a sudden they're rated number one in the WBC or WBA, and they're fighting the champion that held the belt for like 3 years, even though he didn't have no defenses. It's like, what? Like, don't you strip people if you don't defend the title? Like, what? But it's just that's it. And how did his guy? It's just that's boxing. It's so much more business oriented now than ever before. That there's fighters that will never have to fight the best. You know what I mean? So it's annoying, man.
Talking of bizarre rankings, I'm going to let you know, Eddie, that someone has been inserted into the number 5 spot at middleweight, and that someone is Sergio Martinez. Very controversially, has got himself to number 5 without really fighting anyone of any note in his makeshift comeback. But that's another story for another day. That is crazy.
That doesn't surprise me, Joe. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't surprise me at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why they call it the theater of the unexpected. On the undercard in Costa Rica, by the way, going back to Hannah Gabriel's against Martha Gaitan, we've got Encarnacion Diaz, who's 7-1 in an 8-rounder against friend of the show Dennis Duglin. All the best to Dennis Duglin coming off that loss to Amo Williams. Dennis Duglin now 22-8. He needs a win to jump back in. Moving out now to Germany. This is a great one, Eddie. You're going to like this. Heavyweight Mark Demori, 38-2 with 2 draws. He returns to the ring in a 6-rounder against a guy called Laszlo Toth, who's 21-20. Now, what I like is that, firstly, Mark Demori is a friend of the show. All the best to him. However, this is the 3rd opponent in a row who has the first name Laszlo. So either he's just got something against people called Laszlo, or they just really have no other names in their phone book. Imagine going through your phone book to find a guy to make a fight. You just type in L, Laszlo. We just go through all the L's. So he's got something against Laszlo's, I think. But hopefully he wins. He's a nice guy, Mark Demori. I remember he said one of the most brutal things on this show back in the day. I had him on before he boxed David Hay, And I remember saying, "Oh, there's rumors, Mark, that David Haye, he's had this shoulder surgery. There's rumors that his shoulder is in really bad shape, and he basically can't throw a punch properly, and all this stuff." And he told me, "Yeah, if I have to, I'll target that shoulder. I'll smash it to pieces." I was thinking, "Damn, that's quite graphic." And then, of course, the fight happened, and David Haye, laid him out badly, quite scarily actually, and they put the oxygen mask on him and all that. But all the best to Mark Demori. Now I've got to ask you this, Eddie. There was a segment that we used to do back in the day on this podcast, and it used to be called the Funny Named Fighter segment. So if I ever came across a really funny name, I would say the name, and we haven't done it for ages, so a lot of people that's probably listening don't even remember this segment being a thing. But some of the people that's been listening for years, there's some great names that we've had over the years, and I've come across one, and it's been a long time. And I want to ask you this, Eddie, because again, we always have this kind of slight language barrier because we use words over here that you guys don't use, and you use words over there that we don't use. But like when you're a kid, like you don't want to. I've got to really be careful how I word this. So, if a kid does a number 2, what do you call that? Because you don't want to start putting like disgusting words in a child's mouth. What's the like nickname slang for that over there?
Poop.
Okay.
Crap.
Because over here sometimes they say doo-doo. Do you say that?
Yeah, we say that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That is what I needed to hear. So get ready for this. There's a guy fighting in Ghana on Saturday, and this guy's name, Eddie, I'm going to give you his record first. His record is 0-1. That's a great part of what's going on. The guy's name, you ready for this, Eddie?
Yeah.
Marvelous Doo-Doo.
Wait. Marvelous Doo-Doo. Wait, but is Doo-Doo his actual name?
Yes.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That's his surname, Doo-Doo.
That is his Marvelous Doo-Doo. Yeah, you can't write this. You can't write it. Nobody's going to ever say Marvelous Doo-Doo. Never.
No one's ever said it.
No, that name, it's like, look, I ain't trying to throw shade at his name. It's his name. And that's how, that's his family name too, which is crazy. But Doo-Doo, like of all the names, I feel like Doo-Doo is doo-doo. That's in every language, that's what that means. So when I say like, when you're African, you say, oh, you got to go take a, I don't know how they say it in African, but I mean, that sounded really, really, really bad. But I don't know how they say, in whatever language they have.
Ghanaian, Ghanaian.
In Ghanaian, exactly. And his last name is actually Doo-Doo. Like, and I guess, look at his record. His fight game must be Doo-Doo too. I mean,
the thing is, what I love, and I'm really, really not trying to make this even more funny than it is, but I'm going to have to swear here, so I'm announcing that one. If anyone's listening with children around, turn the volume down or get ready, brace yourselves. But, his name's Marvelous Doo-Doo, Eddie, but that's another way of saying good shit.
Yes. That's like, seriously. Like, that's exactly what I was thinking when you said it. Like, man, that was a marvelous Doo-Doo. I hope I don't start making that. Like, there's actually a dude with that name, and he's like, yo, every time I go to the bathroom and, you get up, you feel real refreshed. Man, that was a marvelous Doo-Doo right there. Like, that is so.
I'm gonna try and drop that into my vocabulary every now and then. That'll be.
That guy's like, if he ever listens to this podcast and hears this, he's gonna be like, but that's my name, He's gonna be pissed off. Like, yo, what you going? I can't. Hey, look, I didn't name you Marvelous Doo-Doo.
Well, I don't know. It might give him the motivation to win a fight.
Yeah. Or to find a way to change his name or something.
Anyway, moving on from that, it's been a crazy part 2. We spoke to Jaron Ennis in part 1, and we've started part 2 speaking about women weighing 150 pounds that are fighting for world titles at heavyweight, and we're talking about doo-doo. Moving on rapidly. To the Bolton Whites Hotel. Over here, a good show put on by MTK. Couple good fights actually. Lewis Edmondson 4-0. He takes on Luke Blackledge 26-9 with 2 draws. Blackledge really is past his best, but still it's a big name for a guy just 4-0. Also on the card, Joe Ham 16-2 takes on Jack Bateson. Jack Bateson, I'm pretty sure he was in. I don't know if it was if it was the 2012 Olympic. No, it's got to be the 2016 Olympic Games. I'm sure he went to the Olympics, Jack Bateson. But anyway, he was a good amateur, and he has done all of his pro journey on really small hall shows, and this is like the big fight, like he's been a pro for, if it was from 2016 that he turned over around about that time, he's been a pro for 5 years, and it's been quite a stop-start career. It hasn't had much momentum. He's supposed to be really good, but no one's really been watching him. So this is the fight, this is the fight that we've been waiting on for 5 years, and it's against Joe Ham. Like I say, 16-2 over 8 rounds. I will be tuning in for that one. Also on the card, Dan Aziz over 10 rounds for the English light heavyweight title takes on Ricky Summers, who's 17-2 with a draw. Again, a good fight. It's quite intelligent matchmaking, I think, there for Dan Aziz on his behalf. I quite like that fight. I think he probably beats Ricky Summers, but could be interesting. And the main event, a really, really, really tough fight. Danny Dignam, 13-0, takes on Andre Sorokin, who's 19-1. I'm sure he's a southpaw. I can't remember 100%. Actually, I don't know if he is. Anyway, I remember being there ringside when he boxed John Ryder in his one loss, and he was beating John Ryder, if I remember correctly, till John Ryder managed to stop him, I think by body shot. So that one's for the WBO European middleweight title. That is a huge step up for Danny Dignam. I'm guessing he probably didn't even need to fight this guy, but they believe in him. So this is a big, big fight for him. Hopefully he comes through it. Elsewhere, moving out now to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Over here we have on the undercard a few prospects. We've got Magidov against Andre Federsoff. That should be quite good. Magidov 3-0, Federsoff 31-3. Who has Federsoff boxed before? I've definitely seen that name. I'm getting him confused with I think there's a guy called Fedotov. Oh yeah, he lost. He's got 3 losses. Like I say, his record 31-3, 25 KOs. But his last loss was to Bryant Jennings back in 2013. His loss before that came in 2010 to Lance Whitaker. He actually turned pro, this guy, in 2003. So I'm not sure how old he is, but he must be up there in age. Also on the card, we've got Carlos Gongora, 19-0 against Christopher Pearson, 17-2. Ofer Jones, the third, as well on the undercard. But the main event, Demetrius Andrade, 29-0. Boo Boo, friend of the show, takes on another friend of the show, Wowz's very own Liam Williams, now 23-2 with a draw. It's for the WBO World Middleweight title. Williams, obviously, those 2 losses coming to Liam Smith, but since then he's moved to the Ingle Gym. He's turned into a machine, to be honest. They've got the common opponent in Alontes Fox, a really good friend of mine, and it pains me to say it because I've got to use him when comparing the 2 wins. Obviously, Andre was able to beat Fox on points, and I think Fox had tore like his shoulder or tore his bicep or something. Like he had a bad injury. I think it was a shoulder injury, and he took it into that fight and he went the distance, whereas he got in there with Liam Williams, and Liam Williams steamrolled him, to be completely honest. So, you can read into that, and you can read into it too much, which I don't want anyone to do, but, it has to be mentioned, especially when all 3 guys are guys that have been on this podcast before. I really like Demetrius Andrade. I always have liked him. Liam Williams being a Brit, I'd like to see him win a world title. I just kind of wish it wasn't against Andre. But I tell you this, I remember speaking about this fight when I was out there in the States. I spoke to, a couple of, like Johnny and people like that was around on that day of the event we went to, where Jaron Ennis fought on the card. But yeah, no one seems to really be giving Liam Williams a chance stateside. I think they're in for a rude awakening. I think it's definitely going to be exciting. He's so strong. He seems like he really punches hard, and I'm not believing in the hype like I think a lot of guys over here in Britain are believing that he's going to steamroll Andre. That is simply not going to happen. No way in the world can that happen. I'd be stunned. I don't want to say no way in the world can it happen. We've been speaking about marvelous doo-doo for a few minutes there. Anything can happen in boxing. But Demetrius Andrade, very, very, very good fighter. Fundamentals down to a T. I don't think he does anything sensational, but the basics, he does them exceptionally. And I think I favour Andrade. You have to favour Andrade if we're being honest here. But you cannot write Liam Williams off because he is coming to bring it, and this is a fight he's wanted for a long, long time. Eddie, I don't want to spend too long if you don't really know much about Williams or haven't seen him fight. So if you haven't, we'll just move on.
Well, I haven't really seen much of Williams at all. Okay. Obviously I've seen Demetrius Andrade a pretty good amount, but I don't know much about Liam Williams. But okay. I would be interested to find out, and I think I'm going to have to do my research because I want to see this fight. Yeah, tune in. It's going to be on DAZN. So definitely tune into that one. And the final card to mention takes place at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Over here on the undercard, he was on last week, the multi-millionaire entrepreneur turned boxer, 8-0 on paper with 8 KOs. There is one fight that's not on his record where it went to points. He hasn't been in the ring for just over 3 years. Joe Fournier. He's in a 6-rounder against this guy who is a reggaeton musician from Colombia called Ray Con, and I'm still kind of learning a little bit about the guy. I'd never heard of him, but Ray Con is fighting. He's he has no background in boxing, but that's on the undercard. It is a bit of a circus card. Steve Cunningham looking for win number 30. He has a record of 29-9 with a draw. He's in an 8-rounder against UFC veteran making his pro boxing debut, Frank Mir. On the undercard as well, Lorenzo Simpson, a solid prospect, 9-0 in an 8-rounder against Francisco Torres, who's 16-3. Regis Prograis, friend of the show, 25-1 in a 10-rounder against Ivan Redkach, who's 23-5 with a draw. And the main event, obviously, I'm not even sure why I left it till last. Jake Paul, 2-0 against Ben Askren, another UFC veteran or whatever. I don't watch UFC, so I'm not too sure. That's over 8 rounds there. That one, by the way, is on Triller. I've got absolutely no breakdown for those some of those quote unquote big fights on that card there, but it is a circus card, and I'll be streaming it by hook or by crook. So that is the preview part. We've done the review part. We brought in Jaren Ennis. We did the news. We did the funny name fighter segment, which hasn't been on the show for a couple of years, I don't think. Then we did the preview part just there. The final thing to do is to welcome our second and final guest on this week's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former IBF Lightweight champion of the world. It is, of course, Mr. Richard Commey. Richard, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Very well, my friend. I'm really pleased to be joined by you. So, Richard, you've never been on the show before. I want to start by saying I'm a massive fan of yourself. I've consistently, been banging and beating the drum for Richard Commey simply because I remember those 2 losses to Robert Easter Jr. and Denis Shafikov, the split decision losses.
Right.
Very controversial, a long way away from Ghana. In my eyes, I feel like you probably still deserve to be undefeated after those 2. A lot of people kind of lose interest because of bad decisions from the judges, bad scorecards. Is that fair to say? Was there a period that people kind of stopped taking interest for a little while, unfairly?
Yeah, I think so. But I think that's the main reason why a lot of people, the promoter lost interest. But I believe in myself, and streetwise manager Michael Amubide could believe in me. And after all those fights, that's who lost it. People came to me and they always said, Richard, man, we know you win this fight regardless of what the judges have said. We've seen, and we know you won the fight. So that really gives me the motivation that to keep on keeping it out to lose hope. And one day my time will come, and it definitely come, and I became a world champion.
Absolutely, and you've always been an exciting fighter. You've always been a man who can turn someone's lights out with one punch. I want to talk about that night you mentioned there, February the 2nd, 2019 in Texas against Issa Shanayev. Tell me about that fight and what it meant to you and your country to become a world champion, Richard.
Man, it means so great to me. And, due to the experience I got with Robert Issa Jr. and Shevikov, in the camp, when everything was signed and for the fight, I know it's happening. I said to myself, there's no way I'm gonna let what happened with Robert Issa Jr. and Shevikov happen again. So I was really killing myself, giving my all, and listening to my corner. And obviously, they told me, I listened to the instruction at the corner. So, I went in there. I know for sure Issa Shanayev, he might do his best, but at the back of my mind, I knew once I get a chance, there's no way this fight is going to travel, because I don't want it to repeat itself again, lost on a split decision. So, second round after winning the fight and coming back home, just like a president, like a newly elected president, everyone was really, really happy, and, you should see the massive crowd that followed me from the airport, that way at the airport, and, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember seeing the pictures and the videos. It looked amazing. I'm going to say this as well. A lot of African fighters don't seem to get big chances for whatever reason. They never have easy careers. Does that make it even more special to become a world champion, Richard?
Yeah, it makes me it's part of the reason why we're more special, because it's hard. We're not given the same opportunities that a lot of people get, and we have to work twice as harder as they do. And when we get opportunity, also, we don't get we're not fairly treated, and it's hard for us. So, once we get a chance, we always try to give our all. To be there for a very long time. And thanks be to God, I got a manager, someone like Michael Amubide, who really started with me. And also got a kid, and my team that I train with now, they love me, and I love them. I love working with them. So it makes me want to always give more back to these people. Because they always look up to me.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. And obviously your first defense of the title, I just want to touch on that. You boxed Raimundo Beltran, obviously a tough guy. He can punch as well. You knocked him out, though, which hadn't been done for 11 years to Beltran. Obviously, he boxed Terence Crawford, but you managed to stop him. That must have been another big moment for you as well, Richard.
Yeah, it also, yes, it is a big moment, because, all we want, I always train out, and all I want is just a big opportunity to fight guys like him, that will let people see that we've got something in us, And once we get these chances, we can showcase our talent and how hard we are built, But it's always hard, Ghanaians or Africans, we don't get this chance. So always going to that fight as well. And remember, it was heavier than me. He couldn't make the weight, and I was, I know he's a big name, and he's very tough, so I train hard as well, for that fight. And, God gave us the victory, and he gave us a star. That was a very tough fight.
Yeah, that was a brilliant win. And then, obviously, the next fight against Teofimo Lopez. At that point, by the way, I wasn't 100% sure how good Teofimo was before that fight. On paper, you were by by far his best opponent. I didn't expect it to go the distance. I knew someone was gonna probably get stopped. Obviously, you lost in the second round. In my eyes, that was when Teofimo Lopez became a real star. We don't have to speak about that because it's probably not the best memory, but it seems like you and Teofimo are now friends. He was ringside supporting you last time, which was amazing to see.
Right. Yeah, boxing, we are in there just to do our job, and once we're done, our job stays in the ring, you know what I mean? And, like you said, people don't really believe what happened with Teofimo's fight happened, but you know what I mean? A lot going on, and he was lucky. He got that shot, and I wasn't busy. But then, just a flash knockout, which is cool. You know what I mean? Those are the things that make us. You know what I mean? That made us. You know what I mean? You go through that kind of stuff, you revive, you come back, and that makes you a champion. You know what I mean? And also, it's always been, the fight hand in the ring, and that's it. We congratulated each other, and it seems like since then, I saw him in the lobby after the fight the next day, and I walked to him and said, look, you did great. Congratulations. You deserve it. You know what I mean? And then I was very nice to him. So I think in a way to pay back me being respectful, you know what I mean? And ever since, he's never said anything bad about me, and he's always respect me, which I also respect him. So, it's always nice because it's only boxing. We fight in the ring, and everything ends in the ring. When we are out of the ring, this world is very small. You don't know when you're going to meet this guy again. So we have to be friends, and it is what it is.
Yeah. And talking of your last fight, obviously February 13th against Jackson Marinez, you came back with another big knockout, a brutal knockout, and just like that, you're back in the discussion as one of the top guys in the division, one of the guys boxing fans want to see fight again. Tell me, Richard, what is the plan next? Who are you looking to fight? Is there any names you've got on your radar?
At the moment, I want to be, I don't like mentioning names, but I want to be a world champion, right? And I know there's a lot of these guys out there, like Ryan Garcia and Davis, and they all got titles. Even Teofimo has got a title. So I want to be a world champion again. So I'm coming after anyone who got a title. And I want it. I want to be a two-time world champion. So anyone who has got a title and who's willing to fight me, I'm ready to fight. Because I want to be a world champion again. So, I want to be a world champion. So it doesn't really matter who I fight next. If it's a title fight, I want to fight for a title.
Yeah, and I particularly like that Ryan Garcia fight. That's one that really excites me, you and Ryan Garcia. Just finally, Richard, I just want to say, if you've got any closing words just before we wrap it up and finish, if you want to thank any sponsors, you want to thank anyone, you want to say anything at all to the listeners, now's the time to do so, my friend.
Yeah, first off, I want to thank the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Ado, even though when we were in the lockdown, he did a great job by allowing me, when no one is allowed to travel outside, he allowed me to go back to the States and prepare for, obviously, the last fight I had. So I want to say a big thank you to him. Without him, I wouldn't be able to travel outside. So, and also, I want to thank my team, my manager, Michael Amubediako, and Keith Colony in the U.S. I want to thank my trainers, Andre, Gary, Terrence, and all the guys that I trained, the guys that helped me inspiring, Pablo, Edgar Balanga, and Jihad, and Gary. These guys helped me get back to shape for that fight. And I want to thank all my fans across the globe, one from the UK, one from Ghana, and one in America and everywhere, especially Amon. He has always been, my right hand. I knew him since I was in the UAE, ever since he's been my friend. He always traveled from the UK to America, wherever I fight, to show the support. So I want to thank everyone. Also, Nas is in Dubai right now. I want to say a big thank you for him. He was there. I haven't seen him for a very long time, but he traveled all the way to Texas to see me win a world title. So, I thank everyone and for their support. And, yeah, I'm going to be a two-time world champion very soon.
I believe you, my friend. Listen, Richard, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you. We've been trying to make it work for a long time. The wait was worth it. God bless you, and I hope we can speak again in the future.
All right. Thank you. God bless.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 287 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Eddie Chambers has been with me for the duration of the show. A massive thank you to our two guests on this week's podcast, one of the brightest prospects in world boxing, Mr. Jaron Ennis, and of course the former IBF Lightweight world champion, Richard Commey. The biggest thanks of all, though, goes out to you, the listeners. Thank you for tuning in once again. There has been one or two pieces of news break whilst we've been recording the show. Anthony Yarde makes his ring return on April 24th against the undefeated 17-0 German Emin Atra. Of his 17 wins, so only two guys have had winning records, and he also hasn't boxed since December 2019. But I guess Yarde deserves an easy comeback fight, and that's also on the same card as Callum Johnson's first fight with Frank Warren, so imagine that collision course there. In other news, James Tennyson is boxing on the Chisora Parker undercard May the 1st. He takes on Giovanni Straffon. But that's about everything from myself. Enjoy your weekends, people. Stay safe, and we shall see you all again next week.